Michigan, a 6-foot sophomore, number 3, Xavier Simpson. At guard for Nebraska, a 6-foot junior, number 5, Glenn Watson Jr. At guard for the Wolverines, a 6'6 junior, number 1, Charles Matthews. At guard for the Cornhuskers, a 6'6 junior, number 24, James Palmer Jr. And at guard for Michigan, a 6'4 senior, number 12, Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman. And at guard for Nebraska, a 6'3 senior, number 13, Anton Gill. The Wolverines are coached by John Beeline. The Cornhuskers are coached by Tim Miles.
This will be the first Big Ten tournament matchup in the series between Michigan and Nebraska. And by the way, each of these programs' women's team matching up a little later today as well in Indy in the quarterfinal round. So a Michigan-Nebraska feel for this one as you take a look at the T-Mobile starting lineups. Just about ready to tip it off. Before that, we check in with the third member of our team, and Mike Hall.
Hey, Brian, well, you already talked about what a great year it's been for Nebraska, but remember where they were a year ago, only 12 wins. They've gone from that to this season being tied for the most wins, second most wins in the history of the program. So the question is, what's been different? Well, I just talked with one of their assistant coaches, and he said the two big transfers, Isaac Copeland and James Palmer, have perfect attitudes to go along with the fact that they're the team's best players. If they didn't have this great of an attitude in taking over the team, this team wouldn't be this good.
Mike, thank you. And it is interesting that Nebraska trying to turn this around. Michigan has been one of those nemesis teams for the program at Nebraska. You realize they had lost 10 consecutive games before that win that we showed you back in January, which was a 20-point blowout. Their last win prior to that against Michigan, 1964. Ready for the tip. Nebraska and Michigan, the 4 seed, the 5 seed, for a trip to the semifinal round to match up against top-seeded Michigan State.
Well, I think what's so important is chemistry, and that's ultimately what you're alluding to. For a team that is new to one another, you develop very good chemistry, and this Michigan team has done the same thing. That's why you've got two high-caliber teams on the floor tonight, two NCAA tournament teams, in my opinion.
Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, one of the best players on the Michigan roster, misses his first opportunity. Michigan is a lock for the NCAA tournament. They had a terrific year. On the take, driving hard, Isaiah Roby, the sophomore.
A lot of people I hear call basketball games that are Nebraska games, they say, you know, if only Isaiah Roby knew how good he was. And there's some truth to that, because he has the versatility to be a real weapon. You know, kind of 2 through 5 type player, and has great length to defend around the perimeter. That's what allows them to switch the way they do against Michigan.
You and I did a Nebraska game at Northwestern in January. That was right about the time Tim Miles was starting to also believe that Roby could change the rhythm of their rotation as Mo Wagner scores the first Michigan basket.
Well, Tim Miles at that time didn't really trust this lineup. I think he saw the potential in the lineup, but he said we don't rebound very well with that lineup, and we don't defend as well. And my thought was, we'll figure out how to do it because they're really good. And they have done just that, and that's why they're where they're at, 13-5 in the conference.
Got an excellent point guard, Glenn Watson Jr. He delivers a little fadeaway.
And he's taken a bit of a back seat. He really has taken a step back on this program just to allow some of the playmakers like James Palmer Jr., first-team All-Big Ten guy, to do what he does.
Love the point guard matchup here today in our matchup with Michigan and Nebraska. Xavier Simpson, Glenn Watson Jr. Wagner from 3. Oh, Wagner's off to a good start.
And that is the type of shot that if you get to fall early for Wagner, that forces the defense out. You have to at least take that pass away. When you take that pass away, that Michigan team starts to back cut you, and that's when they get tough to defend.
Watson Jr. off the glass. Rebound ripped down by Withers, and Watson Jr. able to take it away. Both Both of these teams finished the regular season at 13-5 in Big Ten conference play. But by virtue of that win by Nebraska over Michigan, they are in the 4th seed. There's a block. Livers got a hand on it. Livers for 3. In and out. Roby, the rebound.
That was a great defensive play by Xavier Simpson, who was in position to be able to make the play. And that's some of the things that they've done so much better this year. They bought into being a good defensive team, and that's what's given them confidence to be a good offensive team on the other side.
Roby working on Wagner now. His confidence is rising with every start. It's been a great run, about a month and a half, and a take to the rim, and a finish at the rim for Anton Gill.
Those are the plays you cannot allow, simply cannot allow. You have to force Anton Gill to make a tough shot. If he's able to make a tough 3 after a jab step with a hand in the face, you're going to be okay with that. Mo Wagner coming out for an early rest. Keep an eye on him, make sure he's all right.
I'm not sure. He got touched up a little bit there. He was wincing on his way to the Michigan bench.
He's still wincing a little bit.
With his hand or shoulder, I'm not sure. Athletic trainer Alex Wong checking on him on the Michigan bench. They'll play without him. John Teske checks in. Teske had a terrific game yesterday. There's a travel. Michigan turns it over.
I think you got to keep an eye on Mo Wagner because you always want him to be fresh. When he's fresh, he's able to move like a guard. And against this small lineup, you need him to be active. Even though he's a 5'7" can shoot that 3, he's got to be active around the perimeter. He's got to be moving, make the defense work.
John Beilein barking out the fundamentals, trying to limit the turnovers. Michigan doesn't turn it over often. Second best in the country. There's a foul on the take by Roby, and Wagner is on his way back in. Now, one thing Michigan found out, I think Beilein felt like they didn't play all that well yesterday, but they were able to survive an overtime game against Iowa. But one thing they found out is that they can count on John Teske. Yes. Wagner is fouled out. He was in foul trouble. Teske played 28 minutes yesterday and held his ground well defensively.
And it's a different lineup, and I think that's what gives them an advantage. It's not the same lineup. You're not replacing Mo Wagner. You're playing your role on the team.
Matthews fouls Palmer.
I think they could have called that foul earlier in the possession. A lot of hands to start this game, and usually they call these things early just to tell you what they're going to be calling, and players have to adjust.
Tim Miles, now in his 6th year, was the coach of the year in the Big Ten in 2014. NCAA tournament trip that year. They lost to Baylor in the first round. Palmer hits. Oh, he's got a sweet stroke.
He does, and he's the kind of guy where if you play a game where you just roll the balls out and say play, he's the guy I picked first.
Got some experience, too. Palmer is a transfer from Miami. He played in the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. Went to a Sweet 16 with the Hurricanes. They got a number of transfers here. There's a foul down low with Wagner on the dribble. And they're going to get Watson.
They get stagnant. So as much as you think that would favor Michigan, it actually is played in the hands of Nebraska's defense.
Well, to your point, a turnover for Michigan here. Duncan Robinson will enter as Livers will take a seat. And John Beilein going smaller. Another three-point shooting threat on the floor in Duncan Robinson, who hit a couple of key threes for Michigan yesterday against Iowa. Made 3 in the second half, as a matter of fact. Made the threes that were made in the entire game yesterday. And a miss at the rim by Copeland. Here comes Wagner.
Duncan Robinson's a guy you have to take out of the game early. And what that means is don't overhelp. If you're covering Duncan Robinson, I would rather force a contested layup for Jordan Poole, Xavier Simpson, whoever it's going to be, Muhammad Ali, Abdul Rahman. But I don't want to give Duncan Robinson an open look. Might not want to give him an open look either.
Wagner left wide open, and he buries another triple. He has scored all 8 points for Michigan.
And it's interesting, not a full ball screen, because on a full ball screen, Nebraska switched. On that, it was more of an exchange. They didn't switch, 2 went with the ball.
Evan Taylor running the point, gets it into Roby. That's covered by Wagner. And it'll be out of bounds off of the Michigan big man, Nebraska ball.
Now, John Beilein understands that. He understands that on a ball screen, it's going to be a switch. But if you disguise it and fake the screen, 2 may go with the ball.
Anton Gill Trying to get the offense going here. Shot clock down to 5, and Gill. There were Michigan fans chanting a game clock tick down that was a little ahead. I don't know if he bought it or not, but he shot it early. Wagner had it stripped away. Evan Taylor gives it up. Here's Palmer now. A spin. Goes to the rack. Can't get the bounce. Tight rims here at Madison Square Garden. Simpson probing. And Abdur Rahman for 3. Yes! 3-pointers are falling today for the Wolverines.
One of the issues defensively for Nebraska is getting back and establishing yourself in position, but also identifying the threats. Clearly, Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman's one of those threats.
Michigan missed their first 12 3-point attempts yesterday. Here's Roby. He'll pull a 3. And Abdur-Rahman. Foul trouble yesterday against Iowa. He fouled out. He and Wagner both fouled out. Another 3.
That's 2 straight breakdowns in transition. There's a reason why Tim Miles is taking that timeout. No communication in transition on the defensive end. It's 2 wide open looks. You've got to get these guys to start talking. And we talk about Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, how wide open he was. You don't get that wide open by running a play. You get that wide open by a breakdown defensively. Just no talk. You've got to identify those threats around the perimeter. You cannot allow these guys to get going that early.
Well, if you're Michigan right now, you are encouraged by seeing those 3-pointers fall. Yesterday, John, they were 3 for 19 from behind the arc. As I mentioned, missed their first 12. Duncan Robinson had all 3 makes for Michigan. A little different story here today to start.
And part of that is the zone that they went up against. The zone almost coaxes you into bad shots. It coaxes you into those deep threes, those non-rhythm threes. The ball-moving threes are the ones that they make a high percentage of. And so far, those are the ones they've been able to get today.
Any effect that Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, would have on shooting in your first game?
I think it does sometimes, but once you see it go through the hoop, you feel good. And you want to go out and put on a show. I think we saw that from Corey Sanders the past 2 days.
This is Nebraska's first game of this tournament. They got to double bye, finish against the 4 seed, had a win over Penn State in their final game of the year. Watson turns it over and then a foul. It's going Michigan's way early.
You know, it's interesting to see. You watch this Nebraska team. They've been tight so far. They've been tight, and you wonder if they're feeling the pressure of what they feel they have to do, which is win today. Clearly, every team who comes into a tournament said he wants to win. The problem is, this Nebraska team's playing for a little bit more than that, even though I think they should be getting either way.
Second foul on Glenn Watson Jr. That is a big loss for a good chunk of this first half for Nebraska. Thomas Allen is in. Here's Robinson. Gets himself open. Little ball fake. Hits another one. 4th 3-pointer made for the Wolverines.
That might be the most difficult shot they got all day. That is not an easy look. The pump fake, kind of recheck yourself, regather yourself, and he got that thing up, and it looked good the second he let it go.
Robinson scored 11 yesterday. Had some key buckets. Teskey with a block. Robinson on the move. Gives it up to Poole. Returns the favor. Michigan in transition scores. This is an 11-0 run for the Wolverines, up 16-9. Does Nebraska have an answer? Copeland, and an offensive board, a foul. Taylor got the board, goes up strong, and he'll head to the line.
Michigan, they're underrated defense. That's really what it is. They're underrated defense, and when you can trust your defense, I think it allows you to play freely on the offensive end. It gives you confidence. You just let it fly, and then defensively get the job done. They get a run out, ping, 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 share the basketball, easy layup in transition. And Nebraska right now is looking for an answer.
Michigan might have one of their best defensive teams, certainly in the John Beilein era. One of the great defensive units in the country. They shoot a lot of threes. They protect the ball well. Only 9+ turnovers per game.
Everything you just said makes them a really dangerous team in March. Because now you add defense to the equation. They're doing what we always knew they do. They score. They share the basketball. They play well around the perimeter. They're tough to match up with and defend, especially if you only have a day or two to prepare. But they defend, too.
And on the flip side for Nebraska, you touched on it. There is a swell of anxiety, I think, around this program. They want to get back to the tournament. What they hear from the outside is they may not have enough. They don't have enough of those high-level wins, those quadrant one victories that we've heard so much about.
Well, I wonder if they would play a little bit more loose if they thought they were in. Because they seem to be stiff to start this game, looking around, waiting for someone to stop the bleeding.
Well, it doesn't help that their point guard is out with foul trouble right now. Jordy Shumanga, his first minutes, that's going the other way. Offensive foul is going to give the ball back to Michigan. And a frustrated Tim Miles as we get to a timeout. Michigan is on a blitz. Michigan on an 11-1 run. They lead by 6. Let's check in with Mike Hall.
A friend here. This is Jordan Klepper, longtime Michigan fan. A man who was on Big Ten Network our first 3 years, now his own show on Comedy Central. Explain to everybody how close your studios are to this building.
It is a stone's throw. And literally that's how I measure distance, because we have just a box of pebbles. We throw them, and then if they're within a radius, we go. And luckily we were within the stone's throw, and I come to see the Big Blue win.
You were telling me earlier that your hours are so long. They're literally 15-hour days, and it's so intense that your big escape is that you watch Michigan basketball.
That's right, yes. Well, I will use whatever excuse I can, you know. And fandom is a great excuse to escape any kind of responsibilities, even in family members. If you're a sports fan at home, you'll use basketball or sports as a way to get away from the ones you love, and I'm happy to do that with the Wolverines.
If Michigan's up at halftime, I'm going to be talking to John Beeline. Is there any message you'd like me to give him?
I just want to know why he won't return my calls. You know, we share a similar tailor, and I feel like we could share a lot of comments about the best ways in which to appear courtside. So just tell him, call me back, John.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Mike.
Brian?
All right, guys, thank you. Good to see you.
I'm just glad Mike finally brought somebody funny to the table. I mean, is that the new host of Sports Light right there, Jordan Klepper?
Those are two guys that want each other's jobs so badly.
Mike's fantastic.
Well, meanwhile, Nebraska's ineptitude continues. They miss again. They're now 0 for their last 10. That one is blocked by Wagner. And Thomas Allen finally gets Nebraska off the schneid and missed 10 straight baskets. Started the game 4 for 5, John.
Well, the defense has been great. The defense is locked in. They don't overextend. They don't overhelp. They're always in position. And with that kind of positioning, you don't have long closeouts. You don't have long coverage to close out on a shooter or a driver.
Poole gets it right back. Wagner, and it's out of bounds off of the Michigan big man, and let's see, we might have this one overturned. Kelly Pfeiffer coming in and overturning the call, and that will remain in the possession of the Wolverines with 6 on the shot clock.
And look, as great as Michigan's playing so far to start this game, they're still only up 6. And we know how dangerous this Nebraska team is. They haven't been able to figure it out so far this game, and 2 fouls on Glenn Watson. I think that does change how you attack.
Watson back on the floor. Robinson, tough shot. Rebound ripped down by Anton Gill. He's part of that Raleigh connection. 3 of them from Raleigh, North Carolina, all recruited by Kenya Hunter, one of the Nebraska assistants, and those 3 have made a major impact. Palmer, wow, reverse, no. Copeland kept it alive, but coming away is Simmons. And Michigan will get it organized.
I think part of the reason why you have to put Glenn Watson in now is you need your starting 5 to start to figure things out, start to figure out how you're going to attack, how you're going to defend.
Wagner, it's Copeland up, and Wagner finishes at the rim. The ball fake and the jam.
Wow. Look, you talk about falling for a ball fake. The slower the pump fake, the better the pump fake. And Wagner did that to perfection.
Michigan by 8. I think Tim Miles feeling like he's got no choice right now. Watson, got to trust him to play with 2 fouls. And they're going to get a foul on Michigan here. You look at kickball, beg your pardon.
Yeah, kickball, inadvertent, but kickball. Look at the slow pump. And look, if you're going to make a pump fake, don't just throw the ball up there. Your eyes have to go with it. He got his chin up, his eyes up, and they all fell for it. Oh, my goodness. Remember, Bo Wagner was hurt earlier this year. He had a strained fracture in his ankle. Apparently has an extra bone in his ankle. And he missed a couple games, and when he came back, it took him a while. It took him a while to figure out kind of where he fits in this team again, because the team became more defensive oriented.
Well, he pursued the possibility of becoming eligible for the NBA draft, decided to come back, and that is a major gain for Michigan. It's an excellent player. Both ends of the floor. Here's Copeland now. Shot clock down to 5. Turnaround. No good. And a battle for the board run down by Charles Matthews. Abdul Rahman takes it to the hole. It's blocked. Chimanga got a block. Now a foul. Teske right there to clean it up.
And that's part of the problem. When you commit to the ball, if you don't stop the basketball in transition and it gets all the way to the rim, whether it's a miss or a block, there are multiple offensive players in position to be able to pick it up. Jon Teske being the beneficiary of that one.
Teske struggles from the line, 58% free throw shooter. Doesn't get there that often. He's not in the big minutes of the rotation until yesterday when they needed him. Palmer will sit. Tim Miles talking it over with one of his best players, the junior. And 1 out of 2 for Big Jon Teske. Pulled down 9 boards yesterday. Back in for Michigan is Jordan Poole. Abdul Rahman will get a breather.
And when Jordan Poole plays well, this is a dangerous basketball team because it's depth off the bench. It's also firepower off the bench. It's the kind of guy when he gets hot, look out.
Small lineup, 3 guards. Watson with Simpson on him. And a block. Teske denies it, sends it into the Michigan bench.
8 seconds on the shot clock. You've got to look to make a play, but you can't just get so complacent that it's just clear out and play iso ball. That's not when Nebraska's at their best. They're at their best when the ball moves and players able to make plays out of that movement.
Michigan has 4 blocks. Teske is a major presence. Defensively, it's 7-1. Shot clock to 5. Taylor. And Watson gets the board, puts it up quickly, and misses. And a whistle. That's going the other way. A foul on Nebraska. I believe Chimanga will be hit for the foul. And that'll take us to a timeout. Under 8 minutes.
He's just the bait. He's just trying to suck everybody in. It's going to lead to a kick out, long closeout, or a poor closeout, which is going to be a shot or a drive.
Wagner reference Isaac Copeland, 14 in white. Let's see if that comes to fruition here as Copeland is trying to check livers, a 3-point shooter. Simpson has Taylor on him, trying to get by him. And a nice little scoop at the window.
What you couldn't see was Simpson kind of using that left hand to take the hand check away from Taylor. And he's not a big guy, but he's able to get his body around.
Here is Copeland, another miss. And going to be a foul on Roby. Boy, Nebraska has missed 17 of the last 18 shots.
Xavier Simpson, he did this, turn in the corner. You can see, look, there it is, right down there. Using that hand, if I can clear the telestrator quickly enough, using that hand to just lock in the defense and kind of propel himself forward.
I think you finally got that telestrator figured out, man. Right here in the tournament.
Raftery's got it, man. I'm a rookie.
Wagner has it blocked. Taylor came from the backside to help. Michigan now on the bonus with 7 minutes remaining in this first half. They're having their way against Nebraska. Oh, look out. Denied by Roby. Shot clock at 2. Long range 3. And Poole trying to get the foul on the kick out. Nebraska desperate for something good to happen here. They are down 11. In a severe drought with made field goals. Copeland, and he is fouled. Copeland going strong to the basket. Well, our first game of the day, it was a thriller. Michigan State and Wisconsin. And Michigan State, the top seed, advancing. They are here watching this one closely, scouting Michigan and Nebraska. The winner of this game will be the opponent.
How do you think they feel right now? After that game, what we called, I was exhausted after calling. I can't imagine playing it. I mean, that was a physical battle. There were no easy plays in that game.
They give a lot of credit to Wisconsin, though. They can dirty up a game quickly. They make you feel like you've performed poorly because it's so low scoring. You're out of your normal rhythm.
Yet they're comfortable the whole time. They are comfortable with that the whole time. We say it's an ugly game. They're going, oh, it's a basketball game.
It's like winning a hole in golf with a bogey. You take your win, you move on. Right? You know a lot about those bogeys,
I do not take my win on a bogey. I might lose a club, though.
Even the free throws aren't falling for Nebraska. 23-13. It's a 10-point Michigan lead. They have the ball. Approaching the 6-minute mark of this first half. Charles Matthews, shifty, has it blocked. Roby's got 2 blocks already. And that's going to be a foul. We're going to get Matthews with the foul.
Roby just gets after it. He doesn't stop. I mean, and this is where he's gotten really good. He trusts his length and his ability to close out. What I liked at the end of the play is Isaac Copeland held up Charles Matthews, and you see the respect between players. You know, a lot of times you get grabbed like that, you want to flail. You don't want anybody touching you, but you can see there's respect amongst the players on the floors. That being said, who knows? Who knows what can happen here on that?
Well, Roby with a couple of blocks has been a presence inside. Palmer, first team all Big Ten selection by the coaches. He kicks it. Taylor misses. And the drought continues for the Huskers.
They're not good shots. I mean, if that's a shot you're going to take, you might as well clear out and let James Palmer Jr. go to work, because he's going to get a better one than that.
Glenn Watson will be checking back in. Here's Wagner for 3. Too strong. Wow. 2 Huskers right there. And in to scoop away the rebound is Ibi Watson. How does that happen? That will be one mark for Tim Miles for halftime.
It's just a breakdown. I mean, look, you have now part of that is he's coming from the three-point line. There's Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahman hands down, and he just walks into it. But that second chance opportunity kills you, especially when you can't score the basketball. Michigan doubling up Nebraska.
And 5 3-point makes by the Wolverines. They've hit on half of their 3-pointers. Roby brings it back up. Michigan, one of the great defensive teams in the country, and it is showing in a big way here. There's a foul. Trying to go to the left hand, Anton Gill. He is a left-handed player, so his strong side, and he's going to go to the free throw line.
One of the most important things when you play a good defensive team, don't make yourselves easy to guard. And right now, that's exactly what Nebraska's doing. And at times, a few stops for Michigan, the team that you're playing against starts to make it easy to guard them, where they just rely on individual play. And that's no ball movement, no long closeouts, no double teams.
Gill's a good free throw shooter. Hits the first. Don't forget, when the action ends, the Big Show takes over. Complete highlights of today's games, post-game reaction, and a preview of what's ahead tonight. The Big Show presented by SoFi after the game right here on BTN. Brian Anderson, John Crispin, Mike Hall with you. Great to have you with us this afternoon. Gill hits a pair. Second game of 4 today. Our quadruple header of quarterfinal games on BTN. CBS will take over the weekend. The semifinals tomorrow, and then the Big Ten tournament final on Sunday on CBS. Simpson all the way in. Too easy.
So, fantastic job of Mo Wagner disguising the ball screen. He disguised what side he was going to go, and the defense just didn't cover it. They just didn't cover it. Glenn Watson thought it was going to be a switch, and nobody covers the ball.
Watson gives it up. Roby travels. Hesitation costs him a turnover for the Huskers.
Mo Wagner, he does it. He's smiling after that play because he knows he set it up. He's going to disguise it. You think it's coming on his right side? Nope. He slides off. No communication. That was just a great play. Look, those are the plays that you don't realize even happen. But those are the plays that give you easy layups. Those are the plays that break down a defense to the point where you just get frustrated. You get chasing plays. You don't even know what you're doing to defend that.
Roby on the bench. Miles having a chat with his sophomore. Wagner with Copeland on him. Wagner scored the first 8 points for Michigan. He's sitting on 10 right now.
I think 12.
How about it? I mean, this is a Michigan Wolverine beatdown right now.
Yeah, it's been a clinic. It's been a clinic on both ends. And I still think Nebraska's got a run at them. They're just trying to figure out who they are again.
12 for Wagner. Leads all scores in this one. Watson had the 2 early fouls. Gill to the right hand. No, shoots it lefty. Wild shot. Another miss for Nebraska. Here come the Wolverines. Michigan led the Big Ten, allowing just 63.5 points per game in the regular season. They're locking them down. State Farm halftime report. Dave Repson, Stephen Bardo, Robbie Hummel, and Andy Katz. Well, you're talking about a Michigan team, one of the best defensive teams in the country. Nebraska having a breakout offensive year this year. Something's got to give at some point. Is it enough with this big lead? Does Nebraska have a run in them, you think? And it would be significant enough to get back in this game with Michigan as good as they are defensively?
I think it starts with what Nebraska's doing differently defensively. I mean, they came out here and extended 1-3-1 zone, but gave up an offensive rebound. That happens a lot of times in the zone. Nebraska give up that.
He'll pull another 3, and he'll hit another 3. Michigan, 6 made 3-pointers.
I'm not a big fan of zones when you don't play a lot of zone to begin with. This is a team that goes zone at times, but I think Michigan's just too good. You can't get spaced out. If anything, the zone has to be more of a matchup where you just switch everything. There's no real absolutes. I think some sets are just too easy to pick apart. This was just a dribble, draw 2, kick out, because the backside guy, that 1-3-1 is going to be dropping down to take away an opportunity at the basket. Long closeout for Glenn Watson. He can't get to Duncan Robinson.
Robinson's made 2 threes. Wagner has hit 2 threes, and Abdul Rahman 6 out of 12 from behind the arc for the Wolverines. Meanwhile, Nebraska has made 1 field goal, just 1, in the last 7 minutes on the game clock. They've missed 19 of 20. Finally gets one to go, and the first team all Big Ten, Palmer, with an and-one opportunity.
Well, he's got to be the guy. He's got to be the guy because he's the one that can make a 3. He's the one that can put it on the floor, pull up from 15. He's also the one that can take anybody to the basket. Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahman, one of the best defenders. And a good, strong finish. James Palmer Jr. has to get things turned around, and they've got to be able to do it on the defensive end as well.
73% free throw shooter. He gets to the line often. Dropped 34 against Ohio State in January. And he's averaging 17.5 a game, but in conference, he's just shy of 19 points a game. He's been better as the competition has been upgraded.
It'll be interesting to see what this zone is really all about. Is it about forcing a turnover, forcing long passes, or is it about taking the rhythm out of the game? I haven't been able to determine it yet.
Simpson steps inside, and another block. Roby, that's his 3rd. And Watson got the rebound. That's going to be a foul. And that's going to be number 3. Watson picks up his 3rd now.
And that's tough. That's tough because Jimmy Watson's been just going after offensive rebounds. Block shot, he's just flying. He's playing with a crazy motor, much like a Josh Reeves at Penn State. He may not score a ton of points for you, but that play right there, getting Glenn Watson Jr. out of the game, that's huge.
Watson didn't play yesterday. He played just 1 minute in Michigan's win against Maryland, a blowout win on the road at Maryland. He's had some significant contributions already here. 1 out of 2 for Watson.
Well, he kind of fills the Charles Matthews role. I mean, that's the thing. You have some really interchangeable players out there. I think Charles Matthews has more to his game, but Jimmy Watson gives you that kind of energy, length, and athleticism.
Copeland working on Robinson. A little turnaround hook is good. Needed that.
And that's big. First off, you got to watch the hard flash to the ball. He flashed hard to the ball just to get that position, and I think he had confidence that if he had Duncan Robinson in the post, he's going to be able to make a play.
Well, Wagner was expecting Simpson to cut. Nothing there.
That was the one that Peyton Manning throws to nowhere, and everyone goes, what in the world is he doing? Well, he made a read that, in that case, Xavier Simpson didn't.
Peyton Manning appreciates that reference. Still on your mind, even in retirement.
He's a great commercial actor.
Taylor trying to turn the corner, gets it up and over Wagner. He missed. And what do we have? It's going to be out of bounds off of Michigan. Nebraska ball.
You know, it's crazy to think, though, even down 14, they're not far from making this a single-digit game. And single-digit games always feel within striking distance. So as much as you may look at 34-20 as this game is just out of control, Nebraska's a few makes and a couple stops away from just feeling like they're right back in it.
Roby for three. And Ibby Watson with the board. You know, the Huskers finishing the regular season one of their best offensive seasons. They average over 73 points per game. It has been a struggle today. A three-pointer missed. And a nice save. Gill. James Palmer will get it in motion. Palmer on the attack. And Palmer is fouled. Back to the line he goes. High-volume free throw shooter here in James Palmer.
Yeah, he does a great job getting to the free throw line. I just look at these two teams right now. It's funny because Michigan seems to have a certain tempo, a certain flow, a staccato to their game. Whereas Nebraska getting that double bye, it's the first game they played. And you almost wonder, are you better off, especially for Nebraska, and he wins, are you better off playing a game, getting a little rhythm, build that momentum going forward? But again, that's us putting a lot of pressure on this game.
State Farm halftime report coming your way. We're under a minute to go here in this first half. Dave Revson and company standing by just across the way here at Madison Square Garden. Doing great work. These guys, all you guys, John, on the studio and working the games. And the volume of games we've had, 10 of them, the first 10 of this Big Ten tournament for the first time on BTN. It's been a blast.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get any complaints from any of us. This has been a great week.
There's a steal by Palmer. Palmer going to the hole. He's fouled. Abdur Rahman, they say, on the floor.
You know what I liked that I just saw from Palmer was a little emotion. It was a little grit, a little fire. Because I think that's what you've got to be able to carry back into the locker room. It's not just being able to get a stop. It's not being able to get a basket. It's to be able to take some fire back in the locker room, get something burning, and come on back out for the second half.
They called a foul on the floor, but Nebraska in the double bonus. They'll shoot two here, Palmer. Down 12. Trying to inch their way back. James Palmer Jr., Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and the transfer from Miami. The coaches, John, vote him as first team all Big Ten.
Look, I think there's a reason why the coaches do it, yet the media may not. Because coaches have to game plan against a guy like this. Coaches have to strategize and figure out how to stop him. And the truth is, you can't really stop him once he gets going. He's clutch down the stretch. He can beat you from the three. He's got great body, got great body control. Really one of the toughest guys to cover in the league.
Brings tournament experience. That Sweet 16 with Miami 2 years ago. Well, suddenly it's a 10-point game. And Nebraska trying to fight their way back. Palmer has 10 now in this first half.
Tell you, a stop and a basket would completely change the tides of this game, and it would almost feel like it was a one-possession game.
In the corner, Robinson gives it up. 6 made threes for the Wolverines in this first half. Shot clock ticks. Wagner, little mid-range. No. And Palmer keeps it alive. That'll be out of bounds off of Michigan as Poole touched it last. And Nebraska will have a chance here.
You know, sometimes against the zone, the backline guys on offense are the ones that can actually make the best plays. Mo Wagner actually set that up for him to be able to get that shot. It was a great find by Ibby Watson. But Mo Wagner was the one that saw it about 2 passes before.
Chance to get it to single digits. Shot clock is off. Copeland for 3. No. Wagner wrestles it down. That'll take us to the end of the first half. Well, Nebraska trailed by 18 points. They get it to within 10 as we hit the halftime locker room. Nebraska ended the the half on a 9-1 run. And Tim Miles got a little energy going into that locker room. He's got the threes. James Palmer Jr. had a nice run for Nebraska late in that first half. He ends up with 10. And the Huskers, John, finished the half on a 9-1 run. They were down 18 at one point to Michigan. And we're able to get to the halftime locker room only down 10. We'll see how the second half unfolds.
I think we said at some point you could see a run coming, and if you're able to get it into single digits, which they could possibly do here in this very first possession, I think it feels more like a ball game.
In their lone regular season matchup, Nebraska beat Michigan by 20. Good start for the Huskers as Roby gets loose on a setup from Watson.
That's well designed. It's good to have Watson back on the floor. Good to get him back into the rhythm and flow of this game because those 3 fouls just took him out of it in the first half.
And 2 early fouls for the Nebraska point guard as well. He did play some good minutes in the first half, at the end of the first half with 2 fouls. There's a good pass. Wow. Simpson sets up Wagner. Catch and finish at the rim.
If you're going to switch there and you're going to have a guy like Roby with the kind of length that he has on Simpson, you have to use your length in your hands to deter that pass.
Wagner has 14 charge. Nebraska turns it over. Wagner took the contact. Foul on Roby.
And Wagner just got himself into position. Look, that was a tough closeout. He was able to stop, adjust, get himself set. And Roby knew it.
Nebraska, the 4 seed. Michigan, the 5 seed. Nebraska, with that win over Penn State in their final game of the regular season on Sunday, secured their 4 seed in the double bye. This is their first game of this tournament. Here's Robinson, front iron. Rebound pulled down by Gill. Nebraska. They give it right back to Gill. Watson. And the lefty misses. Best opportunity for the Huskers.
It's got to be a good one in transition. I like early shots, but it's got to be good looks for them to find rhythm. Otherwise, you're just getting back and having to defend this Michigan offense that's had their way.
Abdul Rahman. And the switch. Now Roby on him. Rahman goes by him. Roby's got the length and certainly affected that shot. Both of these teams 13-5 in conference play. Nebraska won 22 games this year. Michigan, after their win yesterday, 25 wins. 25-7 their record. Michigan knows they're going to the NCAA tournament. Nebraska, not so much. They're hoping to take care of business here in New York. That was blocked. Matthews. Check by Roby. Turn around, Roby blocks. And out of bounds is Wagner. That'll be Nebraska ball and another block shot for Roby as we check in with Mike Hall.
Guys, I talked with Nebraska coach Tim Miles, and his main message to his team was we have to get to the rim, which is interesting because we saw that right away with Roby, but we haven't really seen that since.
You know, it's interesting, too, because you want to get to the rim, and you want to do that by starting out at the perimeter. The problem is with 5 guys around the perimeter, Isaiah Roby at times gets in the way. He just gets in the way of getting James Palmer Jr. the basketball. The last possession, the only time James Palmer Jr. touched him was for a desperation 3.
Wagner swatted it away from Watson. Well, he's having a complete game here today, Mo Wagner. Doing it all. He's hit the threes. He's worked hard in the paint. Good defensively. Now gets a steal. Simpson with Copeland on him. Switches to Roby. Simpson on the move. Simpson scores.
Isaiah Roby actually wants a foul. Simpson using his arms, his body really well to create space. Hard to imagine he got that shot up on Roby.
He's an excellent finisher at the rim. Copeland draws the double team. Someone's open here. Watson. Michigan able to recover well. Gill and the push off. Offensive foul. Simpson, how about the dismount to get back to his feet after drawing the charge?
Simpson was terrific. On the other end, he gets the switch, and he's going to be on Isaiah Roby. And you watch him. Watch that left arm. Kind of clear it out. Look, that's a foul.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a foul. Isaiah Roby's got a point, because if Isaiah Roby makes a play on the ball, he's going to go through the bottom.
And on the other end, Simpson takes the charge.
We saw that in the game earlier. Ethan Happ kind of locked up Jared Jackson, got him his 5th foul.
Michigan State won our first game. They beat Wisconsin. It was a grinder of a game. Michigan State, the top seed, is awaiting the winner of this one tomorrow, the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament. That'll be on CBS. Matthews cannot hit the 3. Here comes Watson. Watson. Or Simpson is right with him. Oh! Matthews destroys one out of bounds. A block shot.
Secondary defenders are always the ones that get those demonstrative blocks, right? It's the play on the ball. It's hard to get it for Xavier Simpson, obviously, but Charles Matthews lines up his steps and just tosses it into the first row.
Seen a ton of block shots here. That's the 7th for Michigan. Watson, little turnaround is good.
It's still a 10-point game. You get the feel as if the way Michigan's playing, they're up by 20.
Might be a bit of a surprise for Nebraska, too. Their rhythm, they score a lot of points. They're up over 73 points per game. They're not in their normal offensive flow, and yet only down 10. 9-1 run to finish the half. It's big for him. There's Roby. That's going to be a goaltend. Tim Miles, Disick 4 in 4 days, winning the Big Ten tournament and on into the NCAA tournament.
That was just unreal. I mean, the 8th seed in that conference tournament. And you saw they had the potential to be really good. And I think Derek Walton played really well late in the season, particularly on the offensive end. And this year, you're seeing it all come together at the right time for this team.
Palmer loses the handle, gets it to Roby. Roby is fouled. Boy, he was up there, way up there. And a foul on the elbow.
He does that, but you can see the defense, how concerned they are with James Palmer Jr. when he puts the ball on the floor. Two guys converge on Palmer Jr., and that's where he's going to have to be a playmaker if he wants to get this team back. Roby got fouled, but he's still got to finish that.
As the great Red Auerbach said, there are two kind of players. The one that can draw the double team and the one that cannot. And Palmer can certainly draw a crowd, and that's why you see a lot of, if you watch Nebraska, you see a lot of those finishing dunks at the rim. They've got some high flyers. Palmer is good at distributing that basketball. He also gets to the line.
Well, I was one of the guys standing in the corner asking for the ball.
Yeah, that's right. 2 free throws makes it a 10-point game once again. Michigan just keeping Nebraska at arm's length, but remember they have an 18-point lead in the first half. Michigan just seems under complete control. They were a little rattled yesterday by the Iowa Hawkeyes. Wagner left wide open.
Hard shot stepping back into that three. You're not stepping into it in rhythm. He's actually stepping back to gather his feet. Not an easy one.
Especially in the second half, and especially in the second game in as many days in the second half. Those starts out of the legs. Watson cannot hit, and the rebound by Wagner. He is stacking up some numbers here today. 14 points, 9 rebounds for Wagner. That's going to be out of bounds, and a turnover. Nebraska will take over.
It's interesting, Mo Wagner changed sides on that screen again, and Xavier Simpson made the read. It was just almost too quick, where he came over, tried to bring the ball back, just lost the ball on the dribble. But I like what they're doing there with Wagner as a ball screen. He picks the side that he screens on.
Wagner has a double-double. Got to add one more rebound to that. He has 10 boards now to go along with 14 points. Palmer spins. Palmer's fouled. He'll shoot a pair.
He's going to have to do that because on the curl or on the ball screen, two guys are going to stay with him. He's going to have to keep his dribble alive until the second defender leaves. When the second defender leaves, and you're going to see that Mo Wagner stay with him for a while. The second defender leaves, that's when he's got to attack. It's Mo Wagner going back to his man, Isaiah Roby. That's when the opportunity is going to be there.
James Palmer Jr., Nebraska's leading scorer, 17.4 points per game. Palmer with 11 now. He's made all 6 of his free throws. Palmer with 11. And give him 12. And he's 7 for 7 from the line. And Nebraska is back into single-digit deficit now.
Just feel like they're one run away from feeling like they can win this basketball game. I think they're in the position where right now they're playing as if they can compete. But a few stops and a couple made baskets, they're going to feel like they can win this game.
There's a lot on the line, much more on the line for Nebraska than Michigan. Michigan, with the victories they've had this year, they know they are headed to the NCAA tournament. Poole and Wagner coming in from behind, can't clear it. And Evan Taylor gets it to Palmer. That's been the best offense. Palmer with Abdul Rahman and Wagner with a foul.
Say there's more to what I just said than maybe how it came out. It's about swagger. It's about confidence. It's how you play with energy. And I think it just takes another couple makes. You see the Husker fans starting to feel it. They got that right on the arm first. The Husker fans start to feel it, but a couple more made baskets is going to make you feel as if you can start to take control of this basketball game.
Mo Wagner with his first foul. Remember, he fouled out yesterday. Palmer misses his first free throw after making his first 7. Tim Miles going to the chart, trying to find the right combination. And it all starts and ends right here with number 24 in white, James Palmer Jr.
And it's tough because I think you're going to have to get more out of Jordan Chimanga when he's in there. He's got to be tough around the rim. He's got to be a little bit more of a traditional approach. And they're going to tell these two, James Palmer Jr. And I believe that's Jordan Poole.
They were both jawing. How about Jordan Poole, right? I mean, a freshman. You talk about swagger.
He's got swagger. You know, that's the best thing about freshmen. They don't know any better. And that's a good thing. And that's something that as a coach, you want to capitalize on. It's a guy that just goes out and plays.
They're guarding one another, so it's going to be an interesting watch.
Yeah, great play for Jordan Poole to take James Palmer out of this game in the emotional department.
Top of your screen up there, Jordan Poole camping out with Palmer on him. Here we go. And Poole, you know he wants it. Kicks it. Three-pointers up. Abdur-Rahman hits. Nice setup there by Poole.
Well, allowing the dribble drive into the paint forces a help. And it's a help that leads to a long closeout. And that's just too easy. That's what they got in the first half.
7 made three-pointers for the Wolverines.
Particularly, you can't give that up if you're switching like they did at Nebraska possession.
Oh, look at that. That's a pro move right there. Palmer, a little bit of a hook, gets himself some room.
Palmer is a pro. In terms of his skill set, he's a pro. In terms of his length, his body, he's a pro.
Nebraska getting a lot of production out of Palmer in the second half. Remember, Palmer had that great run at the end of the first half to get Nebraska back in. Wagner, ball fake, all the way in. Oh, Wagner was 16 and his family here in New York City enjoying every minute of this from Berlin, Germany.
That's a special move. That's the second time we've seen him use that slow demonstrative pump fake. Everybody went for it. One dribble from well beyond the three-point line. He's able to get easily to the basket.
Back to Palmer, goes Nebraska. Abdur-Rahman trying to check him. Taylor misses the mid-range, and going to be a foul. It's going to belong to Michigan here.
I like the slow pump fake. I told you before. Let's see if did he get his head up? Did he get his chin up, his eyes up? He always does, and that's why they go for it. Strong with the basketball. He has just had a terrific basketball game. You almost feel as if this is a new season for Mo Wagner.
16 points, 10 rebounds, John. He's hit a couple of threes. And only one foul for Mo Wagner. He will get a well-deserved breather at the 12:25 mark. And the Wolverines up 10.
I like what Nebraska's doing, picking up defense. At least start to dictate the tempo of this game. This is not going to be about getting a steal. It's about not having to defend for a full 30 seconds. You also have to be careful. That's a foul situation for Glenn Watson Jr.
Abdur-Rahman, Michigan gets a second opportunity here. Wide open in the corner. Duncan Robinson delivers again.
And what James Palmer Jr. is saying to Isaac Copeland right now is why are you leaving Duncan Robinson? Sixth man of the year in the Big Ten, best shooter on the floor. You're leaving Duncan Robinson to take it away from Xavier Simpson.
He's made 3 today.
You got to show and get back.
Copeland almost lost the handle. Shot clock to 10. Little turnaround in the lane. Michigan securing the boards. Simpson. Oh, nifty. Simpson got himself some room on the crossover and scores at the rim again.
Can I nominate my own BTN standout by Discover?
That might be the one.
That was beautiful. Went off the opposite leg. And the Michigan fans are starting to feel it again.
10-2 run for the Wolverines. Watson will pull a 3. Air ball. Offensive board. Taylor. Shot clock ticks, and Taylor is fouled with 4 on the shot. $15-point lead now for Michigan. They're on a 7-0 run, on a 10-2 run once Nebraska had cut it to 7. But the Wolverines with a burst here. Free throws coming for Evan Taylor. Quarterfinal matchup, Nebraska the 4 seed, Michigan the 5 seed. Michigan trying to do this year what they did last year, win 4 games in 4 days, defending their Big Ten tournament title. Tim Miles knowing the importance of a game like this. They wanted to draw Michigan. They beat Michigan by 20 earlier this year, but they are down 13 now. Michigan with the ball in the lead at the 11-minute mark.
One of the more impressive things about Michigan so far in this game is that they're just very comfortable and confident in who they are and what they do. And the best teams are that way. They've just been persistent and consistent throughout.
Nice kick by Simpson. Finds another open shooter. Poole can't hit this time, and Teskey will be called for the foul on Watson.
It's still a good look. It really is. That's a good look for Michigan. It's a step-in, shot-ready three, hit rhythm. And just breaking down with the dribble, you've got to be able to win your battle defensively. That means keep them out of the paint. Keep them out of a position where they're able to make a scoring pass.
Gill on the floor for Taylor. Three-point shooter in Gill. Here's Palmer. With Robinson on him. Hot pass for Roby. A little confusion offensively here for Nebraska. Michigan, a great defensive team, is on every pass, and finally a steal by Poole.
I don't really understand when you got James Palmer Jr. Why is Isaiah Roby running to the strong side of where the ball side? Let James Palmer Jr. make a play, especially in an offensive possession where you just got stagnant. Create space. But still, big defense from Michigan.
Abdur-Rahman for 3. So after a defensive stand by the Wolverines, Abdur-Rahman delivers another 3. Once it got to 7, Abdur-Rahman hit the three-pointer that put it back to double digits.
And it was a shot that he was able to get open in the corner. Defense gets sucked in. Those are the shots they make a high percentage of.
Wow, the reverse is good. Beautiful take to the basket by Anton Gill. Nebraska needed that. 14-point game. Michigan with the lead in the ball. Michigan has made 9 three-pointers in this game. They're trying to shoot about 30 a game. They're 9 for 20 today after they went 3 for 19 yesterday against Iowa. Still won the game in overtime. Shot clock at 5. Here's Poole on the take by Palmer. The reverse. Boy, he hit the deck hard. Poole's a little shaken up. And now Roby loses it out of bounds. It'll go back to Michigan. And Poole, he is hurting on his way to the Michigan sideline.
If any of us hit the deck like that, I'm not getting up for days. I don't think he was fouled. I mean, I haven't seen it back, but he made a hard play to the rim. He's just got his legs caught up. Yeah, that's where it was. Man, he did. He hit hard.
His right leg, which was going to be his landing leg, got taken out from under him. Incidental contact there. He is out of the game. We'll see if he's able to come back. He's a little shaken up. Abdur-Rahman for the mid-range game. Wagner offensive board. And they'll work some clock here. But Wagner is having a great quarterfinal game today. 16 points, 11 rebounds now. He was so frustrated yesterday after fouling out. This shot goes off the bottom of the backboard. Nebraska with a chance. Palmer shakes Abdur-Rahman. Cannot hit the 3, and there's Wagner again with another board.
And I'd like to see Michigan go back to that ball screen. They've had success getting 2 guys to go with the ball. Muhammad Ali, Abdur-Rahman didn't make the right read there because he had Mo Wagner wide open up top. Wagner's made it tough as a screener. You can't tell which side he's screening on. Let's see if they get back to it. Here it is.
With Roby on him. Wagner spins, hesitates with the left hand. Not there. Roby the board. Good defense by Roby. Nebraska made their first three-pointer today. They are 0 for 9 since. 1 for 10 from behind the arc. Matthews gets Palmer now, and a push-off. That's going the other way. Offense
10 Basketball and Beyond, presented by the Motorist Insurance Group. Sunday on BTN.
Big Ten men's basketball tournament on BTN is brought to you by Littman, family made in the USA since 1896. And by Discover Card, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. Brian Anderson, John Crispin, Mike Hall with you from Madison Square Garden. And take a look at the brackets right now. We saw Michigan State, the top seed, survive Wisconsin, beating them 63-60. They await the winner of this matchup, Michigan and Nebraska. Penn State, Ohio State, Rutgers, Purdue coming up later tonight with Gus Johnson and Bill Raftery on the call right here on BTN. Michigan ball with the lead, and Wagner adds to it.
Wagner just brushed off that double team like it was a net. They doubled down. He was able to keep his dribble, and he's smiling about it right now.
This is crunch time right now for Nebraska. 7 minutes remaining in regulation. And in that last huddle, Tim Miles trying to draw up a game plan. Mike Hall was in there with him. What'd you hear, Mike?
Well, offensively, he was saying our big thing is we're standing around too much, so we've got to get more movement. Defensively, look for them to switch up their defense again. And if you remember, at the end of the first half, they switched it up. It led to a 6-0 run.
It did. It just changed how Michigan attacked. And right now, Michigan's doing whatever they want to do against the zone. And we've seen a lot of this. That's a tough shot from Glenn Watson. He gets it to go. But can you string that together with a stop? So far, we're seeing the difference. Defensively, James Palmer out top.
Needed that basket. That was a big one. Just the second three-point make. 55-42 now. And an answer on the other end. Duncan Robinson. Michigan on fire from behind the arc. Their 10th made three-pointer.
It's strange, though, because James Palmer came way out three-quarter court. Everybody else sat back below the three-point line. So I don't know if that was a breakdown or what. You can't allow the best shooter on the floor to do it.
Robinson's made 4 threes. Watson cannot answer, and there is Matthews with the rebound. Michigan just in control. They've just kept Nebraska under their thumb today.
I'm watching the communication on the floor, and they're just getting picked apart.
Abdul-Rahman got it. Another three. Timeout. 10 Miles. Michigan shooting their way to a 61-42 lead.
They've been patient. They sought out good shots, and they defended all night.
Well, 17 for Abdul-Rahman. Wagner has 18. Duncan Robinson off the bench with 16, the sixth man of the year. Robinson's hit 4 threes. 11 made threes for Michigan. Nebraska needing a quick answer, and not this time. Matthews pulls it down. Say Nebraska, they came into this matchup. They got the double bye into the quarterfinal round, but they needed Michigan either way. They needed to go through a Michigan as a win to help their cause to get to the NCAA tournament. It might be Michigan that has them on the outside looking in, because this is a clinic right now by the Wolverines. Simpson, Watson, swapping a little paint. Here comes Roby. Under 5.5 to go. There's Wagner. Or rather, I beg your pardon, there's Robinson. And Wagner ends up with a foul.
Well, it's interesting because they needed this game, and you wonder how much they felt that. They were stiff when they came out, and even defensively, there's a panic to their approach. They're not dialed in. They're not communicating well. No one's smacking the floor. You don't have to smack the floor to play good defense, but I'm just saying that the energy hasn't been there. And I always watch communication, and the communication is not informing a teammate of where someone's at or where a rotation's going to be. It's almost, why didn't you do this? And it hasn't been positive communication, and I think that's why you see what you see on the floor.
James Palmer coming back in here. Palmer had a terrific run at the end of the first half to help Nebraska get back into this game. Palmer with 15 points, back on the floor, and unlikely he's going to exit for the remaining 5:19.
I think Palmer's got to do some work in transition. The defense for Michigan's been so good when they get set. It's like that with any team that you're going to face at this point in the season. They're going to be locked in. They're going to understand how to defend. They're good when they see the basketball get set. So you have to capitalize in transition if you have that opportunity.
Simpson working the clock. Here comes a screen. Almost lost the handle. Did lose the handle. And that's going to be a foul on Michigan. I think he got Simpson on that call. He did.
He got Simpson, and I think he's seen a few plays from Simpson where Simpson's used the off arm to clear out. It could be one of those plays. Yeah, I mean, he did. He cleared out a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. I think a lot of that has to do with early in the game. We pointed one out. You use that off arm a lot, and officials miss it. They will look for you using that off arm the next time.
Yeah, it's a similar story when you get into the block charge situation. Look, these guys, as we mentioned in the first game, these officials, they've been officiating all these games in college basketball, and a lot of these games in the Big Ten, they're seeing this over and over.
They watch them every night.
Players, and then they're watching all the video. They know the tendencies of these players. They're doing their homework, and they're not going to buy some of the things we're seeing here, especially when you're in the flops or you're holding off the hooks.
Well, they don't want to be showed up. That's the thing. They work hard to be able to get calls right, and it's not an easy job. They watch every tape back the night they finish the game. I mean, these guys are really looking to improve, and as players, we always look for an edge, and sometimes you foul to gain an advantage, and I think those are the plays that officials have to be able to delineate from.
One benefit for Nebraska, they are in the bonus, 1-1 here for Roby. They've got 5 minutes in regulation. Michigan is not a team that fouls much. They are very good. Now, we didn't see that yesterday. They fouled a ton against Iowa early in each half yesterday, but they play it pretty straight up. It's tough to get to the line with the Wolverines. Iowa found that out yesterday. Another whistle by Kelly Pfeiffer.
And I know Tim Miles wants the wrap-up, much like we saw from Ethan Happ earlier. A smart move from Palmer. Keep your hands up.
He's got his arms straight up. That was a little bit of a message, I think. Abdul-Rahman gives it up. Matthews now, under 5 to go. Michigan in complete control here. And Gill pokes it away. Abdul-Rahman touches it last. Nebraska ball.
And this is where you just have to be strong if you're Michigan. You know, work every possession. Make the defense work. Throw solid passes. No, you don't need any home run passes at this point. For Nebraska, you've got to be aggressive. You just got to go out and play fearlessly for this last 4:45.
It was a Nebraska team that was dominant at home. Only one loss all year at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and no losses in conference play. They were 9-0 in Big Ten play, including a win over Michigan. Watson hits the three. That's a big one for Nebraska.
Big shot, but you got to pick up. You got to force Michigan to play with a little bit more tempo. But don't give them anything easy in transition.
Giving them the full court pressure. Abdul-Rahman passes a three on his way to the rim and had it swatted by Palmer, and a foul on Palmer. Abdul-Rahman with a clean break to the basket. He had bad intentions for this one.
Well, they said two. Yeah, got him on the hand. Never really understood that whole hand part of the ball. Well, that's on the wrist, so it's a foul.
4 fouls on Palmer. Abdul-Rahman calmly knocks down the free throw.
You got to be careful, though, if you're Nebraska. You send 2 at the ball in half court, beyond half court. You got a lot of players on Michigan that can make plays. And if you put the ball up and you're going 4 on 3, Michigan's going to have their way.
Abdul-Rahman with 19 now. He leads Michigan scores. Wagner with 18. Robinson has 16. Those 3 carrying the heavy load offensively. Abdul-Rahman has hit 5 3-pointers in this game. Has not missed. Palmer to the basket. Not there. And that's out of bounds off of Michigan. That'll be Nebraska ball. A week earlier than it normally plays. So they could get here to New York City at Madison Square Garden. 63-49 Michigan. Mo Wagner has been a star here today. The Duluth Trading hardest working player, John.
One of the best things about Mo Wagner's day is how hard he's worked. He's done it from everywhere. He started by hitting the big 3 to kick off this game. But he's worked. He's set screens. He's dove to the basket. He's pump fake, gotten to the rim. He's smiled, too. I think that's been the best thing for this team. They don't really have that leader, per se, that Derek Walton Jr. that they had last year. I think it's starting to become Mo Wagner, who's playing with a lot of emotion.
You could see that in the huddle that we had mic'd up earlier. He was using his voice and having an impact. Out of the out-of-bounds play on the timeout, Roby scores. Mo Wagner scored 12 points with 8 rebounds in the first half. He's got 18 and 12 now. And the full court pressure continues.
Wagner has been very communicative in terms of bringing guys together, pointing things out. wonder at what point John Beeline's like, oh, okay, I got it. I see. But you gotta love it.
Yeah, you don't want to cap that personality. That's what makes him a special player here. There's a whistle. And going to get Watson on the foul. He's been playing with 3 fouls this second half. Done a pretty good job. He picks up his 4th now. 7th foul. That'll put Simpson on the line. Xavier Simpson has 5 assists today, 8 points, has this unusual free throw routine, and he hits the first. Game reset sponsored by SoFi, personal finance to fit your goals. Timeouts remaining for Nebraska 2. Both teams in the bonus right now, and Michigan, in case of a held ball, has the possession arrow.
And this is all about finding rhythm. That's what this is. Now, the longer he holds the ball, the more he loses his rhythm. You dribble to the side. He's just trying to kind of turn into that shot, find rhythm. I wouldn't mess too much with mechanics at this age. We see what happened with Markelle Fultz, first pick of the draft. You see video, guy can't even shoot. Don't mess with mechanics. More of a mental thing than anything else. Ask Ethan Happ.
Here's Watson. And Wagner pulls down his 13th rebound of the game. Time is running out for Nebraska as we hit the 3-minute mark. Matthews sends up Wagner, finishes with the left. Well, Michigan just sharing the ball well. There's a lot of open space. They spread them out so much. It creates so much room in the paint to work.
I think it really frustrates opponents because they don't get anything on the offensive end. If anything, you got to win with those counters. You really got to play and make big individual plays, like make tough shots like that. And then Michigan just picks you apart.
Simpson's fouled. Roby got him. Free throws coming. And reality starting to set in here at Madison Square Garden. Well, when the action ends here, Big Show will take over. Complete highlights of today's game, post-game reaction, a preview of what's ahead tonight. The Big Show presented by SoFi right after the game right here on BTN. Guys are standing by.
Last game for me this year.
Is it?
Sad.
Last BTN 100?
Yeah, right.
He'll be working on the radio for the NCAA tournament.
The radio for that, yeah, well, still a studio left for this tournament. That's going to be fun, but it's a great season. I got to say, man, there's not a better conference you can be covering. I mean, the coaches we have, the players we have, and I think it's important to point out that getting to be a part of one conference is special because we get to know everybody really well. It's not as if you just show up and call a game. You get to know the coaches, the assistant coaches, the support staff, the administrative staff, and players very well. So it makes it impossible to really root against anyone. You understand the struggles that they go through on a daily basis, and in a way, you root for everyone.
Looking more and more like Michigan. Penn State, Ohio State starting at 6:30 Eastern tonight, followed by Rutgers, who's become the Cinderella team at this Big Ten tournament. On their home turf, they'll have Purdue.
You got to think Michigan State is taking a good look at this basketball game. And Michigan, yes, they had to play yesterday, but they did this last year. And quite frankly, the way this team's playing right now, they look as good, if not possibly better, considering the defense, the team last year.
Michigan and Michigan State matched up just once in the regular season, and that was a game won by Michigan by 10, beating Michigan State on the road in East Lansing.
Can you imagine if this, I'm sorry to do this, Michigan State, or Michigan fans, excuse me. Can you imagine if DJ Wilson's still on this team?
Yeah, that's a good call.
I mean, that's a guy you did not think midway through the season he was going to be a guy that could lead. Did you imagine this team with that kind of weapon? You're talking about top 10 team.
DJ Wilson with the Milwaukee Bucks.
That's right.
There's Abdul Rahman at the free throw line. Think about Michigan State, though. Their losses this year. They lost 3 times all year. Duke, then they won 14 straight, and then they lost at Ohio State, and then lost at home to Michigan. Michigan State's won 13 straight after their win over Wisconsin in the first game we had today.
They're just not going to be able to play that way. They're not going to be able to play a game where Michigan dictates the tempo and rhythm and flow of the game. If they allow Michigan to do that, I think Michigan State's going to get beat. Michigan State's got to come out and be the better team. They have to be the elite program that we've talked about all year. They have the potential to do so. We just haven't seen it consistently throughout the course of the season.
Well, both teams will have a date at the big dance, and both will match up playing very well. Michigan, a win today would give them 7 straight and 9 of their last 10. And it would be their 26th win of the year if they finish this one out and 2 minutes remaining. This is a formidable opponent here, Michigan.
And I have to say, I did some early non-conference games for Michigan, and I was not impressed. I saw the potential in the team, but they struggled at times. They couldn't really figure out who they were. But now they've got it. And if you're scouting this team, you've got your hands full. If you're taking a look at what you're going to do to stop this Michigan basketball team, you've got your hands full. And that's one of the guys that's got his hands full. Dane Fife, assistant coach for Tom Izzo at Michigan State. Yeah, you better chop on those fingernails because it's not going to be an easy day. But that being said, Michigan State, we've seen how good they could be when they really turn it on.
71-54, Michigan in control as we go under 2 minutes. 20 points for Wagner. Abdul-Rahman with 19. And Roby with the rebound from Robinson.
Also look at a guy like Duncan Robinson, how he just filled a role. Accepted the role of coming off the bench. Didn't complain, wasn't negative. He's a guy that came from the Division III ranks, but the first year in, he was fantastic.
Well, you got to appreciate, you mentioned he accepted the role, and he's rewarded for it. He was the Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year. Duncan Robinson hit 3 key three-pointers yesterday, one of them in overtime, to help Michigan get by Iowa. It was a game that John Beilein said, I'm not really proud of the way we played, but we beat a good team in Iowa who gave us a lot. Iowa finishing down in the standings, but they're a very athletic team. I know you've been on Iowa all year. It's a bit of a surprise that they struggled as they did, but they got a first-round win and then gave Michigan all they wanted yesterday. Took them to overtime. Michigan seemed much more settled here today in day 2, knowing they're going to have to win 4 in 4 days. And hugs for senior Anton Gill. It's been a terrific ride for him. He missed last year, just played in 12 games, had a knee injury. Coming back and performing well. He's part of that group from Raleigh. And Nebraska is going to come to the end of the line here with 22 wins and a 13-5 record in conference play. And now they are going to have some very long days ahead of them as they wait to see if what they have done is enough to get in the NCAA tournament.
And this is where the week off might be tough for them. It's a lot of downtime, and clearly there's postseason ahead for Nebraska. Just whether it's the NCAA tournament or the NIT, that's still to be determined.
9 days to Selection Sunday.
I've made the comment before that I always felt they were an NCAA tournament team either way, and if you give them credit for a quadrant 1 win that was against Minnesota when Minnesota was a top 15 team, we might not even be having this conversation. But because Minnesota, the injuries, the suspensions, they're no longer who they were at the time, which they were at full strength. They top 15 team, and Nebraska beat them in Lincoln. I think the tournament committee has to look at that.
Benches will empty. Coming down to the final stretches. Eli Brooks checks in. Look at Mo Wagner. What a performance today by Mo Wagner. 20 points. 13 rebounds, and his family enjoying getting a chance to watch him in person here in New York City. Now Austin Davis on the floor for Michigan. Boy, it's hard. It's so hard when it's it comes to an end. Playing in your last game and all that reality. All those things those coaches tell you all those years. Take advantage of it while you can. It just comes pouring out.
I think it might be even tougher right now. I mean, we know there's a few games left for Nebraska, but it's even tougher not knowing your fate. I think that's the hardest thing is right now it's up in the air. And you had an opportunity to take control of it. And I feel like anybody that had any sense, if they came in and beat this Michigan team, they're guaranteed to be an NCAA tournament team. 23 wins, 13-5 in the conference. But I understand the metric system that we're going with, and the metric system is basically black and white. Well, I'm sorry, there's too much gray. There's too many variables in college basketball. There's too many things that determine whether a team's good or not. It's not numbers.
Teammates trying to console Anton Gill. Thorborn Yarmanson is in the game. Malcolm Laws getting some time as the benches are emptied out here. Tanner Borkhardt as well for Nebraska. Going to be the end for the Cornhuskers. Eli Brooks, his shot clock going down, gives it up. This guy's just trying to get on the board. Jordan Poole does, and that's going to take us to the finish line here. The Michigan Wolverines, the 5 seed, after a 20-point loss against Nebraska in January, have atoned. Back-to-back wins the first 2 days. And is John Beilein's team making another march, defending their Big Ten tournament title. Impressive win. Big scoring games from Wagner, who had 20, and Abdul Rahman, who scored 21. Wagner with a double-double with 20 and 13. And Duncan Robinson with 16 points on 4 made three-pointers.
Right, it was impressive on both ends of the floor. And I think that's what we've grown to know now about this Michigan team this season. They were not this great defensively last year. They were good at times, and I think that's what gave them a chance down the stretch. This year, they've been consistent on the defensive end. Their identity, while it's also rooted in what they can do from the perimeter, they're confident in their defense to play against anybody in the country.
John Beilein has made his way to the middle of the court as Michigan is awaiting Michigan State now, one of 3 teams to beat the Spartans this season. Good season for Nebraska. Now they will watch and wait. Now we're ready. Let's send it to my call with John Beilein.
All right, thanks, John.